And the nice thing about the software is that it's for the it's for like performance type stuff. So it's got all of these fancy like intros and outros and videos you can add now. So yeah,
Wow.
it's very fancy. But yeah, I first of all, thank you, especially the people who are here. Like it sounded like you made a Herculean effort to get this festival done. I'm so sad not to be there. I mean, Mel and Darcy know this already, but unfortunately for me, my sister passed away at the end of February, and that was basically why I wasn't able to participate at all. And so we're still kind of dealing with the aftermath of that. Um, but yeah, this is I'm just so grateful that other people kind of saw our vision and managed to kind of get it to fruition, all the extra stuff that you did, because I've been getting feedback, at least from Darcy and some from Mel as well, as to how it went. So yeah, I'm immensely grateful for everybody's efforts. But yeah, with regard to the actual debrief itself, I'm sure you'll have points that come up as you're kind of as we start having the conversation. But yeah, I just had some talking points from my own mind, and also based on like the last festival we had, and kind of trying to compare the two. So the first thing that came up for me was, what was attendance like, and how did you all feel in terms of how people were moving through the space, in terms of like crowding and people's awareness of where they were in the space and so on?
We handed out about 65 swag bags, so that was like 65 kids. And so Keegan's mom, and talking with her, so that she would extrapolate from that to be about 175 people total, kids and adults combined. As far as flow, I felt that it flowed pretty well, and like whenever I was in a building, it never felt overcrowded. With the exception possibly of the chemistry room in the small square building, but that was, I think, because they had a lot of stuff and people in a small space, and it wasn't necessarily because there were too many guests in there, but maybe they need a bigger space next year if they're going to do the same thing. And that is my 2 cents on all of that.
It definitely didn't feel overcrowded. Didn't feel, as a exhibitor, sitting on the other side of the tables for most of the day, there was like a steady stream of people, but not too many at any one point. So it was well distributed, let's say. And there wasn't periods where there was nobody for very long, and there wasn't periods where there was tons of people. So I don't know whether people were just sort of self-regulating, and like they would see there was too many, so they would kind of wander off somewhere else and then come back. But it didn't feel that way. It just sort of seemed to be a slow but steady number, which was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things that we did notice last year, was that a lot of the exhibitors ended up sitting around a lot of the time because it was just quiet as people came in.
Yeah.
I'd say there was a tiny bit of that, but like only for a few minutes here and there. Really, I think everyone had people with them most of the time.
Yeah. And a few minutes was was good.
It was appreciated, right?
Yes.
Breather.
Especially to like clear up the mess of the exploding volcano.
The exploding volcano.
Did you take the big one?
No, I didn't. I thought about it. I thought with everything else to organize, it was just too much.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have any comments on that, Darcy or Keegan?
Yes. So yeah, I think we had a really nice flow. Of course, we had set up in ahead of time some kind of mechanism to potentially do some crowd control, but we didn't end up really needing that because it was just a nice steady pace, and it didn't really get too overwhelming at all. If people were feeling overwhelmed, I did notice people going to the calm room. And then the more sensory seeking room was super popular. The chemistry team, of course, also super popular. So yes, if they're planning on bringing a dozen or so volunteers again and having many different experiments, we can create a whole sort of chemistry section for them, which was kind of the idea with giving them their own room.
Yeah, but it was a little small for what they were doing.
Yes, and it was such a hit.
Yeah.
It also related to that. Loved that they brought little like lab coats for all the kids.
It was so cute.
Yeah, they like goggles too, I think.
And goggles too. And I just love that in general and think that maybe that could be something we purchase next year is little lab coats for all the kiddos.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you can get them like the ones that you just wear once, because I think those are very easy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they were, I believe, that they had brought with them.
Yeah.
Cute.
It was very cute.
Another thing that reminds me of, actually, we had this at our adult science festival, is kind of one of those photo booths where you essentially, it's not really a photo booth. You basically just have a screen backdrop, and you have like a bunch of sciencey things and lab coats and stuff, so people can just get dressed up and look like scientists and have photos taken while they're there. Obviously, not all scientists wear lab coats. No, he's not one of them. So,
stereotyping.
yes, exactly. But yeah, the photo booth thing might be something that's cute to do for a future year.
Mm-hmm.
Darcy?
Yes. So initially, I think my initial response to the day was I was worried that maybe we hadn't done enough boosting of posts, because the flow was pretty even throughout the day. But then also, after we spoke, Hornby, I realized that, it's difficult to compare the two events because this event was so spread out. We had a lot more space. We had a lot more exhibits, and I really didn't get to venture. I was also doing my own exhibit, so I didn't get to venture out into the other spaces much. But the feedback I got from other people was that, like Lourdes and people from CARD, they thought that this was a bigger turnout. So,
okay.
So it's difficult to say, because I didn't spend a lot of time out of that space except to run to the bathroom or get something to eat.
Nice. Okay.
I did wander around a little bit and speak to the exhibitors, mostly just to check in on them and make sure they were all okay.
Yes.
And I did that kind of like after we got set up. I did that, but then also later in the afternoon, I went back and did another round with them and asked them, what did they think of attendance, and were they satisfied with the exposure that they'd got, because some of them were there just for essentially their gain is that they want the exposure for their organization, and so to find out if they got what they thought they were going to get out of it. And the response for the most part was yes, it was really nice not to be totally overwhelmed, and they had a steady but satisfying stream of people. So yeah, definitely not like some of them said, oh yeah, it was I thought it would be a little bit more like a regular science festival with wall-to-wall people. And so I said, well, the idea was not to have that. That was one of the points.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, but they conceptually knew that, but then seeing it was a different thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And thank you for doing that, Mel, because when I felt such a sense of relief when I saw you checking on all of the exhibitors and everything, because I was like still trying to sort out last minute, like the books. I did end up getting those books for people to keep at their exhibits for people to sign. Mm-hmm. But like last minute, I was chasing the lady down that was handing out stuff, and I was like, "Please make sure they all get these books and they people sign them. And here's the instruction." So it was just chaos. So I appreciate that you did that.
That was my job.
I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I wonder if it might be worth having someone who is like a dedicated manager for the exhibitors.
Yeah, part of me was like conflicted because I was like, I really shouldn't be doing an exhibit if I'm, normally the exhibitor liaison, because I'm now torn in two. But I did have very helpful assistants for my exhibit that I could just say, right, you got this, I'm off. But yes, definitely, I think having someone during the day to run around and manage individual things.
Which we did have and was a real hit. It was very successful having Heather as our day of manager.
Yeah.
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 Are you talking about your mum?
Yes, I just keep calling her Heather to avoid the
Was that your
nepotism of it all, I guess.
No,
I didn't know that was your mum.
Yes, that's my mom.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah, her shtick is large-scale event planning, which, of course,
okay.
COVID hit, which made her career a little bit of a challenge. So she pivoted, and now she's got a vintage shop over in St. Pete. But I was able to tap her in for this.
that's amazing. Yeah, when Darcy was telling me afterwards, I was like, why has that never occurred to me before? But yeah, that's such a phenomenal kind of stroke of luck for us to have found you, and obviously for you to have asked her to come along. Yeah, so go ahead. Was there something you're going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say that it's kind of our family shtick, I guess, is that we help with everybody's events. So when she was running spiffs, I was there, my grandma was there, my grandpa was there, like anybody and everybody was helping her with the St. Pete International Folk Fair Society event. So I was like, all right, my turn, please come.
Nice. Yeah, I think I want to take this into all of our other kind of events from now on, is to have somebody who is just dedicated to be that person. So how many, I guess I should separate this out. How many exhibitors versus other day of volunteers do you think we have? I guess this is all documented anyway, because we'll have spreadsheets of them all.
So exhibits or exhibitors?
Yeah, because a lot of exhibits had a lot of people with them.
Okay, let's just go by exhibits then.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15.
Okay, nice. And then kind of day of volunteers who were just doing like setup and prep.
Is 15? Are we sure about that? I thought it was like 20 exhibits counting acro yoga. And I thought I printed like.
I will bring up stuff, but I'm pretty sure it was about that.
Is it about? Okay, maybe so. I thought
maybe 16. I may have been wrong. But it depends if we count chemistry as 1 or 3. So.
that was right. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, about that.
Okay.
But I can pull up.
On the topic of flow and exhibitors, as I was sort of floating, I definitely noticed that we weren't getting as much activation in the outdoor space as I was hoping for. I think that really just has to do with the fact that we were really hoping for some kind of drones or robots. And then we were also hoping for someone who could maybe do guided tours through the garden to talk about the native plant life and creatures. So our auto museum exhibit kind of got lost amongst the others just because we weren't really encouraging folks to explore the outdoor space beyond going to get food. So he didn't have as much as many visitors as I think he was expecting, but he was sort of tucked away. And if we had really like developed that space with a few more exhibitors, I think that wouldn't have been an issue at all.
Okay. And might it also have been possible to kind of have like a trail of breadcrumbs to get to him? Like if we had something that kind of prompted people to go into that space, because one of the things that we've thought about in the past is you have a map of the venue, and you have it as a kind of passport. So every single one of the stations you go to, you get a little stamp or a little sticker or something. And then, like, obviously this is all for fun, but if they complete it, they either get a little prize or I don't know, or they get put into a draw for a bigger prize. Do you think something like that might have helped?
Could do like a little treasure hunt. Like you go like a lot of the parks in the UK, you go to some of the like National Trust properties, and if you've got kids, they give you this little pamphlet, and you go around and just do like each question. There's like a little question for each thing. Like there's the Shaun the Sheep ones. Like how many spots does Shaun the Sheep have? And then just that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I think that could have been fun. You do sometimes prompt, though, not real engagement at that point, because
just for the stamp.
Yeah, that you have people which is like, yeah, just there, right? But I've been there. Where's my stamp? And then run off to the next one. So I don't know. It could go either way.
Yeah. I was also going to say, I think with the numbers, we definitely had room to have more people comfortably and without overcrowding. So, like, there's definitely room for expansion. Of course, if we're in a different space, that is a whole nother ballpark. But in that space on that day, there was room for expansion of numbers.
So it was 15 exhibits. If we count chemistry as 3, then it's 17.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Does that include the car and acro yoga and everything else outside?
Yes.
Yep. It doesn't include the sensory spaces. It includes simply the people who, the actual exhibits themselves.
Okay. So if we add the sensory spaces as things for them to visit, that takes it up to close to 20. Okay.
19, yeah. Ish.
I believe that's close to 20.
Depends who you're talking to.
Well, okay.
If Rocco was here, he'd be like, no way, that's not 20.
Biologist versus geologist. This is the face.
Exactly. Physicists versus geologists.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question was kind of regarding, I missed off the day of volunteers, because again, one of the issues we had last year was that we had a lot of great people who were there to help, and we didn't have anywhere to direct them to once they got there. So did everybody have kind of an assigned task? Did they feel like they were being useful in the right places?
The police volunteers were, I thought, amazing.
Yes.
They were really well organized, because they also had the 2 people that were kind of their organizers. So you could say to one of the 2 people that were kind of their bosses, like, oh, we need somebody to help in this room. And 10 seconds later, there was like 3 people in that room. It was like, wow. The kids themselves were really nice. You could just say, oh, excuse me, could you give me a hand with this? And then they would do it. But it was almost easier to talk to the kind of the boss person, because they knew who was doing what at any one time. I was really impressed with them.
I think when we first got there, it was a bit confusing, especially with Darcy going back and forth so many times and not being there to answer questions or direct. And I know that I personally just kind of took control and stepped up and started directing a lot of people in a lot of directions, which I was happy to do. I wanted the whole thing to be successful. I'm not complaining at all. Just kind of a general comment, though, not really what my role was supposed to be for the day, but it was just kind of like, well, I need to step up and just like make sure everything happens. So we did that. But I think once we got a flow going, I think it was okay. It was a bit awkward at the beginning, like where to send everybody.
Yeah, I would say
my perspective on the police cadets is a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I think they were very helpful when they were being told what to do, because that's the program. Like, it felt more from my perspective, like a scared straight program where there were, there were like some kids who were like, I want to be a cop, and they were very on it and they were very organized and like, yes, ma'am, no, sir, whatever. But then there were definitely some of the kids who were like begrudgingly there, like as if their parents had put them in that program, and they were like, oh, yeah, okay. And then they were like on our walkies being like, I'm bored. And people were having to tell them, you're on a public walkie, don't say stuff like that.
So I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah,
I had more of Mel's
either.
perspective. They were very helpful.
Yeah, definitely when directed, useful, but they also needed very explicit instructions. We weren't part of this is one of my things I was going to bring up is about parking. So we had them on parking in the morning, but they weren't actually directing people to a specific spot. They were just waving them generally beyond the tree line. So then people were parking however they pleased, and we weren't able to get as many people in as we could have. So that was one of the moments where we had to like tell them you have to walk over to a spot and like actually direct people to park. So it very explicit directions was something that I definitely realized that they needed. So yes, great for having bodies if we have explicit direction and we have someone who's kind of overseeing them. So that was just my kind of 2 cents about them.
Well, I'm thinking that we may need to have like 2 day of coordinators, just to cover everything, because there was so much going on. Maybe one person that is focused on the inside and one person that's focused on the outside. Because Heather met me there at 7 a.m. when I got there, which was the earliest that we were able to get there. And everybody else was supposed to come, I believe, at 8. And so, so I didn't even realize that you ended up in that position, Christina. But it seems to me that there's a need for just more. I know that it would be helpful to have volunteers assigned to help and go back and forth between just with the loading and transporting of stuff, if that could be arranged, or I think somebody suggested, maybe next time just renting like a U-Haul, like a van, loading everything in that thing straight from the storage unit, you take it to the event and then take it right back to the storage unit.
I think that's a great idea, Darcy, because you were kind of really running yourself ragged back and forth over and over again, and then you weren't able to be there at the event at that beginning part.
In the beginning part, yeah.
I think that's worth the expense, because it's not that expensive to rent a small trailer or find somebody with a trailer day of, for sure.
I think one thing
the trouble.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, no, the only thing I was going to say is the trouble with that is that, when you pack it and you bring it out of the storage, it's all nicely packed and everything. But then after the event, the way, by the end of the event, everybody is just tossing stuff, like everything just got dumped in my garage, and it wasn't like I couldn't have packed it into a truck at that point and taken it right back to the storage unit. So
maybe a more organized cleanup.
Yeah, maybe an organized cleanup, some more logistics around that would, I think, be helpful.
Yeah, so that kind of ties into. Sorry, go on, Mel. What were you going to say?
No, that's exactly what I was saying, was that really thinking through each of these logistical steps, that we have the grand scheme of things of where everyone's going to go and where the tables should be and who's going to be what, and we had the stuff. And there was a kind of a bit of a gap between how stuff gets from here to create the thing for real. So yeah, I think maybe much more logistical, step by step. Who is actually doing what? Where is the stuff? What time is it going to be there? Who is going to be hands-on? Really breaking it down by that, I think would be would be useful. Because I remember about 9 o'clock on that morning when the big main room still had just like one table up. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be down to the wire.
Yeah.
And it was fine, but
yeah. So yeah, this was kind of the next thing, which was timings. Was there enough time for setup and takedown? No.
not for setup.
Setup was definitely rushed.
It was madhouse.
Because I'm trying to remember, we were allowed on the campus when, and it started when?
Started at 10.
We were allowed from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So we started it at 10 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah. It was, it was a bit hairy.
Yeah.
But I also feel like we didn't, like I was saying, it was hard to kind of get started with setup and to know where to start. And so I think we could have, like, some of that time wasn't used as efficiently as it could have been at the very beginning. And I think that a lot of people did turn to me because I did all of the trainings. And so I was a recognizable face. And so, which, like I said, not complaining. I'm so happy that everything went as well as it did. And I was happy to help. But it was definitely like, oh, we know you. What should we do? And I was like, I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yeah. So,
and there was a map of where all of the tables went that we did give to the cadets. So they should have been able to see table goes here, table goes here.
And I showed that map to a lot of people.
The problem with that was that many people were not aware of the fact that what was seen as a table was in fact, that was their site, that was their setup area, but they needed 2 tables and a thing. And that wasn't on the map because the map was deliberately, we don't want to overpower the map with each individual table. So we, as well as the map, we organizers should have had this is exactly what needs to go in each position, with dimension of table and all of that information.
Okay.
And that map, not for handing out to the public for, where do you want to go if you want to see, I don't know, kittens, but for how many actual size tables do we want and where.
Okay, so were the exhibitors and the visitors using the same map?
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially.
Okay. So a more defined map would be good for volunteers.
Yeah, for setup and even just for the setup, even just if the people like the on-site event organizers have that, so they could direct people.
Okay. With exact setup.
Yes.
Okay.
Like very pedantic, but
yeah, no. I mean, I work that way as well. Like, so whenever I would set up my experiments, I would literally say, I need to have 10 tubes for this. I need to have a number of this. Okay, so what happened when we got to takedown? Because I remember that was gnarly last time round as well.
Less gnarly because it kind of ended early. People fizzled out by about 3. We had to sort of stop people coming, and I thought, oh, well, this is probably a good time for me to go around and actually take my kids to see some of the exhibits, and like half of them were gone already.
Oh, okay.
I mean, people were like in the process of taking down because kind of attendance had dropped off a cliff.
Yeah, I think it was because I had mentioned this when we were talking about time. I think it's a little bit too long of a stretch of time.
I thought that as well, and it's maybe this is for later, but at this moment, if we're talking about the wrap up, our ice cream truck just left.
Yeah.
Did we ever figure out what happened with that, Darcy?
I messaged him on Facebook and thanked him for coming and asked him, if everything was okay, and he just gave it a heart, and that's it. So
I was on the way.
So
he was only there for like an hour.
Yeah.
And I went over with my girls to go get ice cream, and he like just peeled out of there like a bat out of you know what.
Wow.
And there were definitely meltdowns that happened because of that, because parents had promised ice cream and they went and there was none.
Yep.
No.
We had a family, not quite a meltdown because we had already got ice cream, but ice cream went, was dropped, and we said, well, okay, we'll go get another one. And there was no ice cream.
Oh,
Yeah. Mine was a meltdown, definitely.
Yep. That was, yeah, that was a surprise.
and it's so weird because presumably, I don't know. I mean, was he one of these people who just drives around neighborhoods?
Didn't
No.
look like. No,
No.
it didn't seem like.
Okay, so that's weird.
It was like we make our own ice cream kind of, fancy.
Oh, okay.
And it was good. But yeah, it was really quite. It's like they turned up quite late and then left really early.
Wow. Okay. But I mean, I guess we didn't have like deposits for these people. We didn't have anything that was forcing them to be there for any period of time, right? They just
Right.
agreed to show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I think so.
Okay.
I mean, the food truck we did because we had the vouchers for the volunteers, so they were required to stay.
Yeah.
But the ice cream truck probably just decided, oh, there's not that many people, it's not worth it. I'm off.
Yeah. Yikes. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you want to stay on topic? Because I got other food truck news.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, let's talk food truck.
Okay, so the hot dog truck, they were good. The food was okay, but they seemed very overwhelmed by the numbers. Everything was made to order, and there was a long line, a lot of waiting, and people seemed like I don't think too many people worried about the waiting, but the people preparing the food in the truck seemed very overwhelmed. We did have one complaint from a vendor who ordered a vegetarian hamburger and swears what she got was a meat hamburger, and they swore it was a vegetarian hamburger. It was an
Impossible
burger. Thank you. But she says that there's no way it was an impossible burger, and they refused to like make her anything else or do any kind of exchange. They kind of got, so she had a bit of a complaint about that.
Yeah.
By the way, I still have you guys' roll of meal tickets. It's still in my bag. It was in my pocket, my vest pocket when I left, and I still have it. So I need to get you guys those back. Yeah, so that was like the only big thing with the food trucks.
For me, the big thing was the language on the actual truck. I actually saw that truck early on in searching and thought, dear God, no, and passed along it. And I almost wish I'd sent it as a
do not.
Please, as a do not example.
Well, we taped over the language, right? But it was not good enough. I didn't notice. I noticed we taped over it.
We could tape over the ones that were on the front-facing side of it, but then there was a giant innuendo on the back side of it, which if you were driving towards our parking, you would be able to read very clearly that it said, follow us on Instagram for our big wiener. So
nice.
I'm sorry.
They were all quite punny. I mean,
and it's not appropriate for a child's event. But as far as the overload of maybe having two food vendor trucks instead of just one, because they were so overwhelmed with the numbers, or spacing out, giving people a time frame to go get their meal with all of because I think there was just a constant flow of the volunteers and help and exhibitors, and they were just overwhelmed.
You're exactly right with that. Those are both considerations that I tried to have happen. I really wanted us to have a food truck that was something like approachable and fairly regular, like hot dogs or grilled cheese or something like that. And then to also have a more vegetarian friendly option. Especially hearing how the Impossible Burger thing went down, it would have been really nice to have that alternative. And then yes, we also had those printouts that said we're refueling, be back soon, and the idea was to actually give those out to specific exhibitors so that they could go to lunch and then they come back and you hand off that sign to the next person, so that we were staggering people going out. But then we did have a little bit of a lull at lunch where everybody was like, no, I'm hungry, and just went and got food.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of the exhibitors would sort of pop out and look to see what's the queue like, and kind of wait until they saw that there was a less of a queue to try and go and get some food. I mean, the other thing to do, because if we wanted to go and leave for half an hour, leave our exhibit, but we also needed food. So maybe if there'd been a way, somebody could, if we had this like person on site, could say, right, what do you want? I'll go
Take
make
an order.
Your table. If you want to break, then go. But if you just want to go get food, we can bring it to you.
Yeah, and I did do that for one person, for Ema, because she couldn't stand there and wait. So I got food for her. So yeah, we could have like food delivery, take an order and deliver food too, might work.
Yeah. Particular for the exhibitors who, if they leave their table, if there's only one or two of them, if they leave, then the exhibit is down.
Right.
Okay. So another goal.
Breaking up.
Darcy?
That's quite robotic.
Yes.
Are you okay, Darcy?
It's turned into a robot.
AI is taking over.
Yeah.
It's too late.
I've been watching a lot of Doctor Who recently, and I'm suddenly
I was
thinking,
just gonna make a Cybermen reference. Great brains, great minds.
yes, indeed.
So I feel awkward because I don't know when we want to move to the next topic. The card table was good, and then we did have one or two other organizations that expressed interest in being there as an informational table, but it was kind of late in the process. So maybe getting that opportunity out there earlier and having more informational tables would be a possibility. And then that was one thing. And then
Can I tag on to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, one of the people who reached out at the last minute was an ABA therapy provider, which personally I think is already sticky territory, and that if you were going to have specific therapy providers tabling, you would want to be confident that they're genuinely neuro-affirming therapy providers as opposed to like a more traditional ABA. Just something to consider.
Yeah, I believe that's what I said to Darcy in the end. I said, obviously, I'll leave it up to you as obviously kind of advocates for the community. Like, I don't actually understand that much about the kind of therapy that they would offer. And like my suggestion was, it's already quite close to the event. I think we can legitimately say to them that we don't have enough time right now to kind of wrap you into the proceedings, but maybe we can have a conversation, see the kind of work you do, and keep you updated with future events. But yeah, I think I completely agree. Like any informational tables, I would like to have someone who knows what they're talking about be able to vet them before we agree to people showing up. Like, I am not down with non-evidence-based or other kind of practices that do not fit in with legitimate health goals. Yes.
Would card, is that something that you could approach as a vetting? I trust you.
Well, the problem is that card is actually quite pro ABA, and it sounds like Keegan and some other people on the SciFest board are not pro ABA. So it would be hard because we would have vetted them as fine too. Like we're in favor of. I mean, we promote and we recommend people for ABA therapy, and so I don't know that our standard of what is okay in ABA therapy is going to meet you guys, like Keegan or other people's standards of what is okay in ABA therapy.
Okay.
I mean, I'm trying to say it in a very diplomatic way.
Yeah, that was my understanding, is that card does put people in touch with ABA therapists. It's just kind of like a gray area, controversial area amongst autistic advocates. A large percentage of autistic adults feel that ABA caused them trauma. So
yeah, I understand. I understand the controversy. I do know that there's been some shift in ABA therapy over the years. So people who are adults now and have that experience, like the children now are having a slightly different experience. There's been some change in practice over the years. So
the quickest rundown I can give you is that ABA was invented by a guy who also created gay conversion therapy.
Oh, okay.
And that originally the purpose was to punish outwardly autistic behaviors. So punishing stimming, punishing no eye contact, that sort of thing. But then there's been this shift towards positive reinforcement, or even like more of a net neutral, that like you're withholding positive things if they're not doing the behavior you'd like. So it could be you're not giving eye contact, well then I'm not giving you your plushie that brings you joy. Or you do give the eye contact and it's like, oh well then here's the reward.
Yeah, it's really shifted even further from that lately though, in that really it's more about finding stimming behaviors that are more positive for the individual and are more adaptable in the environment. So, for example, trying not to have people banging their heads, that's a self-injurious behavior, and trying to replace that with a stimming behavior that is not self-injurious. Or if a kid is screaming out during class all day long, like replacing that screaming out with an alternative behavior that can allow classroom to continue to function for all of the kids in the classroom. That's kind of, it's more of a learning better adaptations that are more helpful to the individual and the individual within certain environments. That's kind of the direction that it's gone lately, but I do understand the history of it.
Okay.
Obviously, we can agree to disagree, Keegan.
Oh yeah, I know how it's pitched for sure. I just there's a really great like white page from Autistic Self Advocacy Network that actually explores like the origins of ABA and how it isn't evidence based. My personal opinion is just that it's encouraging masking. It's encouraging people to present more neurotypically.
Okay.
So bigger picture for the implications for this is like, would we want to just not have any ABA therapy services allowed to have tables at future events and only having other things like Florida Autism Center or maybe places that do occupational therapy, but not ABA therapy kind of thing?
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing, like other organizations. So Darcy, since you're just joining us again, can you hear us?
Yeah, I actually could hear you. It said I was backstage, but I could hear you guys. So I hear you all.
Yeah. To add you, and it said I couldn't add you because your mic and your camera weren't attached.
Okay, no wonder. I turned it said something to allow my mic on, and then it finally added me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've just been trapped in the background listening to
it.
Yes, but I heard all of the controversy.
Sorry, like I said, I'm trying to be PC and like not be controversial. I'm just trying to.
No. I know. I didn't mean that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's something to consider for the next event because presumably we're going to have more people like this reach out. I was thinking about more kind of. I think it might be easier to say yes to organizations that support other disabilities in general, but not necessarily something that is clearly within the community itself that might not be necessarily what the community sees as best for them. So yeah, I mean, other than kind of those specific points, like a general overview, like does everybody feel like it went well? It went relatively smoothly. There are no major events, no other than the ice cream disappearing.
and then not explaining even why he disappeared, just like leaving.
So I suspect that it was the ice cream guy leaving. I suspect that it was one of a few things. So they typically, this ice cream truck typically offers alcohol infused ice cream also. And when I was up there trying to get ice cream, a few people were asking about it, and he seemed disappointed to realize he didn't bring the alcohol infused ice cream, and he seemed disappointed in that interaction that he didn't know that, you know, that there might be adults there that would want that. So that was the first kind of thing that I noticed. And then I can't remember who came and told me that he took off, but
I think I did, Darcy.
Okay, and somebody was also trying to use the meal tickets at the ice cream thing, and so I wondered if maybe he felt upset that we had meal tickets for another truck, and he came just out of, you know, he just volunteered. We didn't pay him. We didn't, you know, order a certain amount of ice cream.
Money, right? People were paying him for the ice cream.
He volunteered.
They were.
Yeah.
I will volunteer to do my job.
Yes, he was being paid, and it was not cheap ice cream.
No. Yeah, I went and bought ice cream, and I bought ice cream for all of the people that were in my exhibit too. You know,
Wow.
Yeah.
Which is 2 people, not me, but I tried to give him some sales too, because I saw that the flow wasn't, you know, slowing down at that point.
Yeah.
Because he came later, so he couldn't come. He was coming from another event, directly from another event.
Right. And we did have a general slowdown in the whole event, like in the afternoon. It was definitely busier in the morning.
I'm wondering then if he possibly was bolting to another event.
Possible.
Possibly.
He just hooked himself up.
Yeah, possibly.
Could be.
Anyway.
Yes, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
And
Go to this event and not have ice cream for, though, is just...
I know. Especially when you've seen it and you've said, oh, come, you know, we'll do this, you'll do a first then. Like, first we do this and then we'll get ice cream. And then
Yeah.
ice cream.
And then, I just being, you know, I think I could have done, I didn't think of like making some Instagram posts about the ice cream truck. I could have done a better job boosting them too, to make sure that they feel kind of in, you know, just, you know, like we're you know, including them and sharing them, and and driving.
If it hadn't shown up at all, it would have been even worse.
Yeah.
The only other major conflict I saw during the day was that whole Alcoholics Anonymous meeting that was in our calm room for an hour and a half that we were not aware of, and we had to give up our calm room because that was
really
adventure.
strange because we rented the entire campus.
Yeah. We deliberately picked a day and a time where we should have had the whole thing.
She did tell us, though, that there was going to be, she told us there were going to be people meeting there and they would not be in the way. I thought they were meeting in that other dome, the other dome that we weren't using. And so,
Okay.
But their feedback, just the church, when I spoke with Linda, her feedback was like they were happy to have us. They thought it was a wonderful event. They were grateful for how well we cleaned up. Like they just thought we were wonderful guests.
Well, that's good to hear.
So
Yay.
Yes, and talking with our UU rep day of, he was having such a good time. I have to wonder if he was maybe a little neurospicy.
Definitely
He
seemed
made a whole lot of eye
neurospicy.
contact. But he obviously like had such a good time. I know that his maybe friend or maybe someone who actually works at UU, he heard our news spot on the radio that morning, and he was like, wait, what? At my church? Hold on. And like came right on over, and so they got
that was the
food
other
and...
guy. He really liked the car.
Yes, I was just about to say that they were probably the ones gushing the most over the old school car. So they had a good time, and he also told me like they were really hoping that we would do it again next year and that they would, you know, do even more to boosted and whatnot on their behalf if we were to do it again.
Yeah.
That being said, on the topic of venue, it was a really lovely space, but there definitely were a few folks who were kind of like, "Ugh, this is at a church. Is it going to be churchy?"
Including me, honestly, when we first looked at it.
Yeah.
And what a few of the science exhibitors, when I told them the venue, they're like, "It's a church." So yeah, it's it is an issue, but not one that's not over.
Yeah, there was nothing like once you got, there was nothing churchy at all about it. So I was just kind of getting past that initial.
In fact, it was really nice. They had really so much cool supportive stuff everywhere. There was a little anti-racist library, and use whichever bathroom you want to. And
that's because it was the Universalist church.
It was lovely.
It was good. The only other thing I would say is we just need to like get more PR out there earlier. Like we need to get things set up earlier, started earlier, PR earlier. You know, other than that, I mean, I think it was a pretty good day, other than those little hiccups with like the AA meeting and the ice cream truck leaving. But for the most part,
the hot dog truck with the
weird innuendos. But I saw lots of people having fun, lots of kids engaging. I did not see hardly any meltdowns at all the entire day. They used the sensory rooms appropriately. We got high praise from my fellow card staff, Mindy, who's one of our supervisors, about the sensory rooms, how they were set up, and having the 2 separate sensory rooms. And it's actually something that we're adopting to other events we're doing here at Card, is having a sensory room for people who are hypersensitive and a sensory room for people who are hyposensitive. And so like we just did that at Fiesta based on the SciFest results. We did the same thing at Fiesta. We had 2 sensory rooms. We got high praise there for it too. So I think it's going to be part of our, when you can, if you have the space and the availability, like best practice, new best practices. So that was like really amazing feedback.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, generally we had really wonderful feedback. Getting the comment from Mindy that in her like 20 years of being at Card, that this was like one of the most thoughtful and successful events she'd been to, was really, really wonderful to hear.
Yeah, very high praise.
And then, of course, parents were really, really excited about it even existing, but also that it went smoothly. And then volunteers seemed to have a really good time too. I mean, they were very excited, especially the USF students, it seemed, that like they were going to be fed. They had no idea they were going to have a free lunch. And then they got fun t-shirts, and quite a few of them were like, "This is a really cute t-shirt. Like, I'm actually going to continue to wear this."
We're really having fun.
And all of that really bodes well for continuing to get exhibitors, I think, because if the professors know that it's not going to be like pulling teeth to get their students to volunteer, that they're actually like excited to participate in the event, that is going to be even greater for us.
Yeah,
I agree.
So for me, I think a lot of the issue now is obviously getting information from people, because I don't know how many email addresses were collected as a result of the event itself, because we do have a mailing list and I've seen people sign up to it, and I don't know if that mailing list was used at all while we were advertising, because social media is one thing. My personal view is that I hate Meta with all my being. And I am kind of, I was not super excited to have the event only on Facebook. And so I did want to have some kind of RSVP system set up on our website, because it also allows us to directly collect donations. It's a really, and that's the easiest way of doing it. People, like with Tandem, it's free and they can put in any donation they want. We almost always get a decent number of donations. And we also get a nice big list of email addresses, because I think with all the will in the world, like putting things on social media and paying for them is not as good as emailing people. It's never as good. And this is in like 12 years of holding these kinds of events for people. And that goes for obviously getting details. Do we have email addresses for all of our exhibitors, or like the main people? We have all of
Certain people, everyone that I've interacted with, and email addresses for anyone that they told me they were bringing because we wanted them to do the training. The only ones I think we don't have is the crazy collection of USF students that Chrissy brought with her. So,
They had a blast though. They were so good.
They had great fun. I'm not going to complain, but there was like a million undergrad chemists. It was great, and they were all super excited because she does this thing like it's a mentor peer network, that these are undergrads that have done well in their classes and want to mentor and be peers to other undergrads, and so they're kind of leaders in chemistry, and so they were the ones that wanted to come, and they were super fun.
Yeah.
And one of our undergrad chemists had participated previously and knew that they didn't want to be on the other side of the table because that's not really their shtick. So we were able to plant them at our like help desk.
Nice.
And that was like the perfect spot for them.
Oh, you're talking about Gabby? Yeah, she's geoscience. She wasn't chemist. She's one of our grad students.
Ah, got it.
In geoscience, and she did that at the last event. She was helper and realized that she loved it. So yeah, but she was great. But yeah, she wasn't an undergrad. She's one of ours. She's one of mine. I'm claiming her because I love her.
So, I mean, what I would really like to get out of this is a kind of way to wrap up the festival, which allows us to kind of use it as a way to pitch to volunteers, exhibitors, and the audience, obviously, in the future. I'd love to have testimonials from people. Like we're now 2 for 2 from card reviews saying we were awesome and among the the most inclusive events that they've ever been to. So like I would love to have lots of things that we're able to put in quotes. And so we, unfortunately, I don't know if we ever got any of the media from our first event. Do we have like, obviously I saw your Keegan photos. I saw your photos, Keegan. They were
yeah, we had a couple of different folks who were taking photos. Of course, we had one particular person who had a really nice camera and took some gorgeous photos from this event. And then like my partner was taking some fun photos, and then I think it was Lisa. Lisa took some great photos on her phone too. We still have videography that we're waiting on, and not really waiting on so much as just working on a script to do voiceover, but we have 10 minutes of usable footage. So our videographer, I asked them to make more like a 4-minute cut that could live on the website. And then I watched that and it still felt really long. So I asked them to bring it down to more like 3 minutes, and then to maybe make like a 30-second something that can go out on social media. But we'll get all of that usable footage so that we can make all different kinds of clips and whatnot. But for the voiceover script, we could certainly include some folks to do testimonials if they would be willing to record themselves and send that over to the videographer to put all together.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So the main things I'd like to send out now are obviously surveys to the volunteers to make sure that we have as much feedback as possible from them, and that's another opportunity for us to get testimonials, and those again we can just turn them into quotes to put on social media. So we don't need to have anything recorded. We just ask for their permission to be able to use their words. And then the attendee survey, I guess, is largely going to have to go out on social media, but we can also post it to our mailing list. Like people might have found us, gone to the event, found the website, signed up to the mailing list, and were involved at some point. So I'd like to send that out too. And the last thing, Christina, is last year, we were in the process of prepping to send out certificates to everyone who was trained by card.
I sent them out as they trained. Everyone who did a training or watched the video has a certificate. And if they don't, I can make more. But as far as I know, everybody who contacted me and worked with me has a certificate.
Phenomenal. You're an absolute champ. Yeah, okay. That one I can check off my list then. Isn't that beautiful?
I need to poke the exhibitors again and find out, because there was a few people that wanted reimbursement, but they have not got, I don't know if they've got in touch with you, Darcy, directly, or who should I send them to for money?
Send them to me,
Send
because
them
I'm
to you.
the one paying them out.
I will do that. Yeah. Okay. I need to poke them again to kind of do that stuff.
I might work on a
haven't
reimbursement.
received anything yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll poke them again.
Have we had anything from anyone for reimbursement?
Not from any exhibitor, no.
Okay.
But I don't know if anyone else is needed reimbursing.
I had a couple of things, but I just kind of got caught up in moving and was like, well, I guess that's my contribution.
That's up to you, but we're more than happy to pay you back. I think we were a tiny bit over budget. Like, honestly, the budget stretched seemingly far enough that it covered what we wanted to do. Actually, that's a separate question. Is there anything, if we had a bit more money, you think would be good to have?
One of the things I thought of when we were just kind of brainstorming how to fill in some more of the budget was a bubble artist, someone who can talk about surface tension and also have a fun bubble display.
Yeah.
There's a guy that always turns up at the kite festivals I go to that he has a giant bucket and bubble like string, and he will make like 6-foot long bubbles on the beach. I don't know who he is, and I have to go to the kite festival again to find him, but there must be someone. He was amazing.
Yeah, I thought that would be really fun. And when I did my preliminary search, there were quite a few different people in the Tampa Bay area who do that. Also,
cool.
This just reminded me on an exhibitor note, our bird folks, they were so excited. They had such a good time, and they were really excited that we gave them so much space because we set up 2 tents for them. And that was really just based on the fact that I know that you kind of want some space around you when you're handling a bird of prey. But they were like shocked by that. They didn't expect to be so accommodated. And they, Lonnie, I believe is her name, who is really their coordinator, she had such a good time. She told me that next year we'll bring even more birds if you want them. In fact, she said she'd be willing to schedule show times where they'll actually fly the birds.
Ooh.
So she had a really good time, and she was so excited to do it again next year. She also does the bird shows at Ren fairs. So I wonder if she might know a bubble person, because I've seen bubble people at Ren fairs too.
I like the idea of bubble people. It sounds like the people are made of bubbles.
Is there going to be another one?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we figure, I mean, honestly, the license plate grant application was simple enough. And I think once we have all the material together, like, I think there are a lot of people who get money annually from them.
Yeah.
Is there, because Jen, the Arts for All Jen,
Yeah,
they tend not to like to re-give to the same groups.
oh,
She's had money from them, but like they
Oh,
don't
really?
give recurrent, at least in her experience. She said, yeah,
The license plate people?
yeah, that's what
Because
she
Card gets from them every single year for our foundation. Like, we're part of their regular donation. And I just renewed and got one of those license plates instead of my anti-child abuse one I was like, I can do it now because I had to renew.
like paying yourself.
yeah.
Okay, so maybe I misunderstood, or maybe she was talking about something else. Because she was saying, yeah, the license plate people are great, but it's hard to get recurrent.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe that's the difference. Yeah, I'll ask her what she meant by that. But yeah. Okay.
Maybe it is for other organizations, but I do know that CARD receives annual money from them.
Yeah, maybe because it's
You
your
guys
very
are
specific.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we can always try to reframe it somehow and look at a different venue, look at a different area, because we can legitimately say we don't hold the same event twice, and this money will allow us to tweak it and go into a different community. Like, we've been in an urban area kind of twice now. Like, maybe we can go to a more rural area. Obviously, then the event is probably going to be a lot smaller, and you don't have to plan it a very different way. But yeah, we can look into how we can pitch it differently next time.
I did see a couple of folks with T-shirts from 1.0 turn up at this one. They had the T-shirts from last time, which made me really
happy. That's affirming. That's really cool.
I mean, including my own kid, but I don't count her. There were others.
Looking ahead to next year, I really loved the Tampa River Center that Darcy and I went to. It's right smack dab in the middle of Tampa. Going back to parking, having unofficial parking spots didn't really serve us very well because folks had to be so specific with park here. And that Tampa River Center has a big old parking lot. And then they had great indoor and outdoor space. So I don't know if they still have an April date. They had like one Saturday available when Darcy and I went. But I was a big fan of that space, and I think that I'm hoping if you were to apply for the license plate grant, that you might be able to say, hey, can we get maybe even a little bit more budget? And that I would move towards us doing it bigger and better, right smack dab in the middle of Tampa, as opposed to doing it smaller and more rural. For me, this felt rural. As someone coming from St. Pete, it was quite the schlep getting all the way over there, and like during rush hour. So something a bit more centrally located, I think we could serve a lot more people.
Yeah, and I think then we can get onto a bunch of lists for the city of Tampa. So
yes, when I talked to Raquel, and Raquel did come, our Tampa ADA coordinator, she stopped by and she really loved it too. But when we were talking about the marketing of it, she said that it was a little bit trickier because it wasn't in Tampa proper. So putting it on the City of Tampa website was like not as doable with where we were.
Yeah, of course. Okay. I think those were all the points. And obviously, like, it would be great to be able to get sponsorship. It would be great if we could get, like, all it would take is a few more $1,000 here and there. And I feel like local companies, we just need to be able to help people who are obviously sympathetic to the work that we're doing. But yeah, like, we did this within $10,000 this time around effectively. So, if we had 15 or 20, I can definitely see us holding a much bigger event and have more kind of potentially paid vendors and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. 15 is what I was thinking. 15, I think we could do everything we did and just a little bit more.
Yeah. I think what I really need to start doing is tapping into the Simons Foundation, because they actually have like, one of their research focuses is autism, but they also have, like, we got funding for them from our very first grant was from an organization that is sub-funded by them. But I also know the woman who heads it up at the moment, she used to run the British Science Festival. So I wonder if it's just worth starting to have conversations with them. It's tricky because you need to have a foot in the door, like with all these big foundations. You need to know the right people and pitch the right things to them. And obviously, if their interests don't align with ours, then it's tricky. But yeah, I just don't know where to go for money these days anymore. It's just like everybody's shutting
Tapped
down,
out.
reducing the amount they're giving out. But
Yeah,
yes,
I saw somewhere that with all of the federal cuts to funding, that to make up for that, folks will have to increase their fundraising by like 280% or something. So hard time to be a fundraiser right now.
yeah, quite. I mean, the only thing we have going in our favor is that essentially we are a volunteer-run organization, and literally all that money will go into the programming. And so if we have people who have smaller pots of cash that they are able to give away, it's easier than trying to land a much bigger grant anyway. We've never been competing for those, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we kind of covered everything we want to talk about. So unless people have anything specific that they'd like to talk about, I will give you back the rest of your evenings. And thank you once again for your amazing efforts for this year's event.
Well, thank you for bringing us together.
Yeah, no, it was great. And I hope to be involved with you guys again next year. Just reach out, as things come about. And yeah, and my kids also had a blast.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
mine too. Yours ran away and joined the circus, right? Afterwards.
Yeah. So Elizabeth, my older one, 11-year-old, loved the acro yoga group and like hooked right up with them. And several people thought that she was part of their exhibit.
Awesome.
And she was begging me to take her to their classes in St. Pete on Sundays at 2. And I'm like, you know how big of a drive that is for Wesley Chapel? Like, no.
Ouch.
Yeah. So Keegan, as I understand it, are you leaving us for Chicago?
I am currently in our new Chicago apartment, yes.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But whatever I can do remotely, I'm happy to make happen. And I don't know, maybe I'll make some more connections here in Chicago that I can kind of send your way. I'm planning to, or at least I've been invited to join the planning committee for the Chicago Disability Pride Parade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I should meet some cool folks that maybe these can combine somehow, collaborate.
Yeah. I mean, we are more than happy to kind of, I don't want to use the word franchise. I hate that word. But we're more than happy to help like local chapters set up in other places if that's something they want to do.
Ooh, okay. Well, I'll let me see if there's a license plate grant here in Illinois and see if I can't make something happen.
Yeah, quite. Awesome.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess. Thanks again. I'll write up the notes and I will send out any kind of follow-up emails just to wrap up those loose ends. It'd be great to have all the media, Keegan, whenever that's available. And
are we putting photos somewhere? I can ask other exhibitors for photos if we make a box folder. Or
I will create an album just because it's so much more. Google Drive folders are fine, but I'll create an album just because it's much easier to see the pictures automatically, and you just drag and drop into it.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that, and I'll ask the exhibitors. And
yeah,
great.
Yeah, we have a folder for us in the like planning drive. If you're looking
with all the photos from the person, the super fancy camera.
Yes, and I organized them too by like who took what, in case you're interested in giving anyone credit. And I'll have all of that the video footage in a folder soon enough. And if you're looking for an easy way to collect photos from other people, I've found that Photo Circle is really useful. It's an app that you basically just get a link and it sticks you in a folder and you can put all your photos in there and everybody can see it fairly easily. It's what we used when I was in a sorority. So that's 150 young ladies all blasting photos.
Okay. Yeah.
Those photos, if I wanted to send like one or two to the exhibitors, if there's a particularly nice one because I know that scientists, it's hard for us to get photos of us doing our thing, and so if there's some particularly nice ones I could send to the exhibitor, is that okay to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, those photos were given to us to use in whichever way we like. I also made I made a Yes newsletter that talked about it, which if you go to our Facebook, you'll be able to find fairly easily, which has it all in just like a cute little format. If you're interested.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Cool. I will create the Google albums just because it's easier for me to find stuff at a later date. And it does the attributions automatically. So as people drag and drop their photos across, it has the name of the person who uploaded them. You know, I'm happy for any of the exhibitors to go in there and just download the photos from there for them to use. I don't know whether we need to put any language that please, you know, be considerate in how you use the pictures, but
yeah,
I can't imagine what else you'd use them for. So,
yeah. Cool.
Yes. Darcy and Mel, I'm going to be back very briefly again mid-May. If you're around, so I can say hi.
Should be. I leave on the 26th.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Should be around.
I'm around.
Yay. Corner Club.
Okay. Well, have fun in. Is it Chicago? You said.
Yes, the Windy City.
The Windy City. Have fun there.
Thank you. Cross your fingers for me. I'm in the running to be a program coordinator at UIC's Disability Cultural Center too.
Oh wow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, folks.
Good talk, folks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.